Good afternoon. Welcome to a Sunday Bootcamp 2.0 second day. Um, Brilliant efforts. All three counselors have agreed that you children have put in something we did not expect. And believe me, what we asked wasn't easy to begin with. So fantastic. Of course, we have given you all a lot of feedback. And I know my children must be dying because it's all green. Their entire black screens become green. So, and apparently Shabri's done the same. Amy, I don't know how it's been for you. Is it as strong edits and comments, or have your kids managed a little better?
Um, I think it's about the same.
So, all right, children, not showing that you've done a bad job, just hopefully showing that we are trying to get a perfect job here. All right, what we want for the next 25 minutes to be is y'all talking about your journey of yesterday, how y'all struggled or how y'all managed, what was good, what was bad, where are you now at a stage where you are struggling. You know, each one of you take 2 to 3 minutes, but tell us what is happening with you. We're starting with Parushka.
So, I started writing. That's going well since I've at least started off with something. But I'm a little confused as to how the storyline type of thing is playing out. Like the last comment that you left me, I'm a little confused as to what to do
What was
over
it?
there.
Remind me.
It was, I think we were changing the paragraph about Ariel, like we were writing something more about it being performed in a group.
Right, right.
That
So very good. Verushka, when I read your essay, the biggest issue I was finding is how are we showing a growth? Please remember the 650 words has to transcend you through periods of learning or failures or obstacle or growth in her case. So in your case, I picked up on your shyness, your ability to not be able to connect in the first paragraph, the first lacuna, because at ballet you were single, you were connected to your music, you had to do your steps, you had to move on. But at aerial yoga, I'm trying to show now the need for collaboration, because you have to be a leader but you also have to be a follower if there's a performance on, because otherwise all of you end up breaking your necks, right? So because of that, there had to be a need to converse, there had to be a need to contact, collaborate with each other. And that is how your third paragraph, which, I told you I have an idea, we will discuss, comes into fulfillment.
okay. All right.
Okay, so do you understand why the single to coordinated, collaborated effort I needed you to write on?
All right. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Understood.
So that was great, Varushka. You asked a direct, specific question. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Arman, same with you, please.
Also, one more
Uh,
question.
yeah.
One sec.
Sorry, Arman. Yes, Varushka.
In the last comment you've said, it says add paragraph. And what paragraph? It just says add
We'll
paragraph.
discuss it on our
Okay.
personal meeting because I won't remember anything I've written now.
Yeah.
Okay, Arman, go for it.
Yeah. So based on the comments that I got yesterday, I'm like inferring that. So I've basically kind of divided it into like 5 or 6 paragraphs for now, my essay. And based on that, based on the feedback I realized that one of the paragraphs needs to go completely, and it needs to like change up, and because of various reasons, and it makes sense. And more importantly, I think that I think the main structure, like that, the key components are there. It's just about how do you kind of make it into a story now. That's what I need to work on. It's not about the content itself. The content is there, the key components, it's there. It's like, but it's mostly about, a few words here and there. You need to explain a little in detail about, okay, how did this happen from this, just build upon more ideas, if that makes sense.
Sharps.
Yeah, I
It's the reason we're making all of y'all listen because y'all also learn. We don't have the luxury of working with y'all one on one right now, right? Yes, Sharp, sorry.
Arman, the fact that you've taken that insight from the feedback shows to me that you're going to write a great essay. So I the feedback I gave you, obviously you've understood it, which is the key thing. So when we do our one-to-one, I think post that, because it's actually when we discuss things, things come alive more, between you and me. And that's when you will be able to actually put it into the structure. But your ideas are great. I like the way you've presented it, and we just need to make it come alive now and have a bit more of a story, like you said.
Yeah, thank you.
Sanvi.
So obviously it was quite challenging in the beginning because I mean I was quite clueless on where to begin most of all. And so once I started writing, it got easier. And the feedback was actually very, very helpful because I think Miss got brought out points that I had never even like thought of. And I was just like mind blown by like the points that she, you know, advised that I could add. And I obviously do have a few doubts regarding the feedback, especially about how you told me to change the first paragraph a little bit about not talking, not talking about the negatives as much. So I just wanted to clarify with that because I didn't really understand what negatives you were talking about.
Yeah, so you've said that you're stubborn, okay? Stubborn is to me not a good adjective. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Single-minded is a better way of saying I'm stubborn. Because the
Okay.
thing is, Tanvi, you have to, first impressions count, right? And when the admissions reads this, do you think teachers want a stubborn kid in their class? No, they don't. Do they want somebody who's
Yeah.
single-minded and will pursue things? Yes. So it's about semantics.
Okay.
So that's the what I meant by
Okay.
putting yourself as too negative. We don't want that. We can use words. When I write references
Okay.
for kids, letters of recommendation, I use words that may show that they have these qualities, but put them in a nice way so that the reader thinks, yeah, okay, that could be a positive. Being single-minded is positive. Being
Yeah.
stubborn is not. So
Okay.
that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to discuss with you. Actually, Miss, I'll do Sanvi and then pass her on to you after we've had our one-to-one, because I've got a lot to say to her, because I think her essay could be superb.
Perfect. Absolutely. And I think you're right about the red flags, children. Be mindful of what can become a red flag.
Mm,
Okay. I had a child who wanted to write about an itch and how he got into a habit of itching his hair.
mm,
But that turned out to be a red flag because it turns out that it could be a psoriasis or a dandruff. And then
mm.
you have to express it in a different way and not as a desire to itch. All right.
Yeah.
So it's very, very
Thin
mindful of what can become a red flag. It's just 650 words, 12 minutes, they get to know you. It's not a lifetime.
line.
Okay. Okay. Let's move to Arjav.
Yeah, so I feel the biggest challenge for me in this essay is I have the content, but I'm not able to structure it well, and most of the comments were revolving around the same. And I feel my essay is going a bit too long, that is around 750 or 800 words, which I feel can be edited. And so the main issue is just structuring the essay properly, and the way that we are going about the essay. I think that is the best way we can. So.
It's outstanding, Arjav. I was just telling Amy and Shabs, I'm in love with the essay, but
Yes.
again, the content is there, but you tend to repeat. You go
Yes.
on a repeat mode. So there's a very, very great amount of editing that's constantly needed. I need to keep going back and forth to say, oh, was that repeated? Oh, was that emotion repeated? But you're right. Your content is again like Arman's probably. It's there, done, dusted. You have a phenomenal structure in place. You work very well in the gaps that I laid out for you. So super excited to see how it turns out. And I just told Amy and Shabs not to read your essay till it's complete. So yeah, let's see their viewpoints, which might be totally disastrous, but let's see what they say. Awesome. Zara.
Hi. So I thought my writing was a little verbose at the start. And then Amy helped me, make it much more coherent. And she also had this idea of having these thematic topic sentences at the start of like my body paragraphs, which again tie in the essay together much better and make it so much more coherent and flowy for the readers.
Amazing. Amy. Did you want
I
to say
love your
something?
essay. The only thing is, Zara, I just made a comment. I replied to one of your comments, and I just realized I think we can add more experience, like a personal anecdote, to connect to your insights. So perhaps that might help with particularly when you're writing about MUN and debate. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So you'll see what I'm talking about. But great work, really. I really love your essay, and I love the fact that she used part of your idea and kind of merged it with part of mine. So it's nice. I really quite like it.
Lovely. Shivantika.
At first, it was really hard to get started because I picked Amy's style with the narrative, and I'm a narrative writer, but like it just seemed so confusing to be able to like take like a scenario of like me teaching art and bring it throughout the entire essay. But I feel like with Amy's help, the flow of the essay was really good. But the one thing I feel like I'm struggling with is like I don't exactly know what the key takeaway is from my essay. I feel like there's a bunch of points about me in there, but I don't know if there's like one strong thing that's in like the whole thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I actually, when we read over your essay together later, we'll go over your conclusion in particular, because even when I was editing it, I was like, what do I say? So
Yeah.
we'll work on that. We'll work on that. Don't worry. But you've written a beautiful essay as well. And I think the approach that you've used is actually creative and engaging and does highlight different facets of you, which I think that at first you were a bit hesitant. You're like, how do I do this? But you managed really well. So well done.
Thank you.
Rohan.
Yeah, so I like the way my essay is going. Like, for example, my introduction and conclusion similar, but the introduction highlights the failures, where as the conclusion highlights me overcoming the failures. But the way they're structured is very similar. But the one problem I have is I'm doing a lot of telling and not showing, and I'm not impacting out my like realizations and how I reacted to failing. So I'm working on doing that right now.
Yes, Rohan, awesome. I'm so glad that you understood that feedback that I gave you. Your essay is really interesting because you have made such great achievements. It's just now it looks a little bit more like, oh, you're bragging a lot about the things that you've done rather than showing me a little bit of giving me a glimpse into your head as to like, oh, like what are the insights you've gained? What are the realizations you've made about yourself, about what you can do, and how did you get there, right? A little bit more of that would really just elevate your entire story, right? And bring out the best of you. So yeah, we'll work on that.
I did read your story as well, Rohan. And I agree. The problem is that it's so much of reading that by the end you're like, okay, what? I hear, I know, you've got the views. So, that's so what needs to be answered. Where if you really actually bring out your story is what makes all the difference. Anya. Good morning, Anya. It's what, 2 in the morning for you?
Yeah, it's like 4 a.m. now. That's good. I was waking up anyways. I'm still jet lagged, but with my paper, I thought it was interesting because I already have like a draft on your idea, Priyanka Aunty, because like we worked on it before. And then I chose like Miss Amy's idea to like focus on the smaller things. And I remember, like, you might remember me saying that I wrote so much, like more than 1,000 words just for an idea. And then Miss Mary said that like because she's like in the US, in the UK, she could like look at it and give feedback like while I'm still awake. So one thing that stood out to her was like whenever I'm talking about the smell of like my house and how it's so comforting to me, and I talk about the smell of chai, like a certain type of blanket and like a Christmas tree, and then I used Miss Mary's idea in it. Like I shaped it up so it's a mix of both of your ideas because I shaped it like I always felt so uncomfortable when my friends would say like my house smells good because like I can't smell it. Like in elementary school, if my I used to get bullied, and like if my friend was like, oh, like your food's so smelly, then how would I feel comfortable coming like with people coming into my house and being like, yeah, like it smells good. Like I just showed like I was uncomfortable. And then like one day back home after a trip, I actually like smelled my house because I wasn't used to it anymore. And I was able to like break it down into 3 smells and the significance they have to me. Like chai is with my family, like my parents. Like a Christmas tree is like the support we have for each other in hard times because like winter is so busy for all of us. And like the jodhpuri doher, like that blanket, it's like my family back home, even the ones I'm not related with, like the most distant relatives, like I will always love them, like they're close to my heart. And then I like wrap it up saying like there's so many beauty in the small things and it helped me grow into who I am today. So it's like a mix of kind of all ideas that I think it just worked out really well.
Wow,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
sounds incredible.
I think
Thank you.
I
Wow.
think you've taken on board what I meant about the smells,
Yeah.
rather than because you know the bit you wrote about the small things of biology. I was
Mhm.
like, where's the connect? Let's focus on the smells because you know you only have 650 words, and those smells can talk about your American identity, your Indian identity. All of us, just like music. Take if you hear a song which you heard when you were 17, you know, Priyanka, I'm sure you being of my generation will, if you go to the ABBA show, straight away you're transported to being a teenager, right?
Absolutely.
So music has that effect on us. So does smells. You know, even when I go to Calcutta from the airport to the town, the smell is bad, right? But you know, okay, I'm back.
It's my
And I
smell. Yeah, it's the smell I've grown in.
love it. And using those smells and the quilt for me is the key thing because that links you to back to India because you know, no matter where we grew up and stuff, India is still part of our essence, and smells are all about our essence. So I think that idea is going to work really well. The one other bit of advice I want to give everybody is do not mention other people in your essay. So don't say other people can't do this, but I do this. I don't know why other people do that because that's a big no because they don't care what other people do. And Priyanka and I shared a student actually 2 years ago, beginning with an S. I'm not going to mention the name, but he had a lot of this in his essay to start off with. I am better than everybody else. They don't understand this in my math class, but I do. Those are big red flags. Okay. So we get rid of those. We just focus on ourselves. How this, but I think Anya, your essay has the potential to be a stellar, outstanding essay.
And you know
Thank you.
what I love, Anya? I can imagine the doha wrapping around the comfort, the feeling of I'm still with my grandparents. You know, just that ability to wrap yourself
Right.
away. It's the whole word comes to wrap, you know, and that wrap can be so many. Yeah. I
Right. I
think
mean,
we've
it is
got
like back there, but I have like 7. Yeah.
don't wrap yourself now. I don't get that comfortable feeling. Tia, I think you're on next.
Yeah, hi. So, with my essay, I feel like the feedback that I received was what I kind of also mentioned yesterday. Like my writing is pretty descriptive. And that's honestly something I've seen with like my writing in general. Like uh even for the extended essay, like for those who do IB, like my writing is really descriptive and I've always been told to make it more like analytical. And I feel like it does happen, like it's something I've worked on and it does happen when I like spend more time on it. Um, so even in the feedback I received, like some of it was just like remove these parts, which is what I needed because my writing usually goes like over the word count all the time. So like that was helpful. But also, yeah, I think I just need to work a little more with y'all to make it more personal and not so like, because then because I'm talking about like my experience with a conference and Operation Smile, it just kind of becomes like a reflection and it's not supposed to be a reflection. So I think just making it more like adding a little bit more like feel in it is what is missing.
Um,
An introspection, yeah.
yeah, Tia, I obviously I gave you feedback on this essay, and I think it has the makings of a really good essay. It's a really good topic because it also is something that you did, you know, and
Yeah.
you were only 2 students were selected from India, correct?
Yeah.
And this was fully funded by the organization. Am I right?
Yeah.
So that in itself shows that you had something special going on. The fact that you
Yeah.
were chosen, I think that you know, just stating that, I think does make a difference. But for
Yeah.
me, I was telling Priyanka this morning, I need to feel a bit more of how you felt when you first saw a kid with a hair lip, because it's
Yeah.
not a pleasant sight.
Yeah.
Were you repulsed, but still you pursued. But if you were repulsed, imagine how they feel looking in the mirror, right?
Yeah.
And then you can talk about how this became so vital to you, because to be able to give somebody their smile back without feeling subconscious
Yeah.
is a great thing. So for me,
Yeah.
it was some of that needed in there, which I'm sure you'll be able to do because you write well. But it was
Yeah.
a bit of a listy thing. I did this, I did that.
Yeah.
How did that make me feel? Why did I do it? Right?
Yeah.
I think it'll be a
Okay.
great essay.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you so much.
So I think Tia, because Ishan's not there today, Shabri was recommending maybe to bring in a little bit of a different introspection and read. I'm going to work with you today. And based on what Shabs has said, and she's explained it to me, let's try, because it's very important. And children, here's what we're going to do to you today. We're really going to shake you all to the core. Um, Before we do that, we have 5 minutes. I actually want us as counselors to share our best moment, worst moment, fearful moment with you all as well. So you'll realize we are absolutely humans and none of us know what is going to happen by the end of today. Amy, I'd like you to start.
So honestly, best moment was really just being able to work with my group and really read through some of the ideas that you had, right? And seeing you guys start putting things together was really exciting for me. Worst moment, I haven't had really a worst moment. I really can't, I'm not
I
quite.
mean, a fearful moment, a moment where you got scared, you didn't know how it's going to work out, anything.
I mean, I guess like maybe in the evening, I was just a little worried that like my students wouldn't have uploaded their essays on time. So yeah, like that's definitely something that I was like, am I gonna have enough time to read through everything, or are they gonna be able to like get it in on time? So that was something that I was a little scared about. But otherwise, honestly, I've been very, very happy with the progress and the work I've seen so far. So well done, everyone.
Shabri.
So for me, the best moment is obviously meeting new students. For that it's my passion to work with students. So meeting new students just is lovely because that's a new experience, and I get to know new people, and also getting your perspectives, etc., is great. For me, my worst moment is always how is this feedback going to be taken? Because I'm quite blunt in my feedback. I have to be honest. Okay. And the reason I am is because I want you to fulfill your potential as a student, right? And project the best essay. One of my students, I gave him feedback. He didn't speak to me for 2 weeks, right? Because he was so upset with me. But in the end, the essay he produced got him into Stanford. So, we always have this joke about it. In fact, I have the Stanford University Award on my wall at the moment, which he nominated me from, right? But the problem here is I give you the blunt feedback. I've only known you for 30 minutes yesterday individually. So please, if I'm blunt, take it as this is cruel to be kind kind of thing. So that is my only issue.
Okay, so I tend to fall in love. I always do. I don't know how to say bye to my children. I don't know how to let go. I'm in touch with my children over the last 10 years. The joke is I remain fit because I have to go for their weddings. None of them seem to have any plans to get married, but hey, I have hopes. My best moment was actually seeing your faces. When I read the forms, I kind of make my own little cartoon impression of each one of you. And I love the fact that it's almost nearly 60% right. That's a little better than 50%. My worst moments are that I always doubt what I have done to you children. And last night, I actually slept very well with no doubts. And I was like, yay, done it. 4 o'clock, I woke up. And guess which essay? I woke up with the lacuna effect going on and on in my head. 4 to I just sat and I restudied and I reread and I read that whole book, The Lacuna Effect. It was morning and I realized that's the lacuna effect. That's exactly what it is, dream and reality. We're always struggling. But by the end, Varushka, the idea that I managed to frame up and what you and I will work, hopefully, will be liked by Amy and Shabs as well. Let's see how it goes. So yes, that is to show to you children that we are all humans. We all doubt ourselves. We all don't know what's going to happen today. We're scared. But what's really important is listen to us. Be with us now, because now we're too short of time to try and change our whereabouts. I would like to say about one of my children, Arjav listened to every single word and comment I told him. He didn't try to put his emotions at all. He just said, whatever. To the extent I literally changed, and I don't want to spell it out, but I literally changed the role his grandfather is with him. And he said, okay, we'll do it. So listen to your counselors now, beta, because that is what is going to get us at 5 o'clock with a solid draft. Okay. So with that, we're going to be moving to our specific group counselors who you're going to be working with for 1 hour now. Here's what we're going to do, Varushka. Let's move to your essay. I'm just opening it. So I literally had a dream of your essay. It was scary. It was so scary. 4 to 6:30. I was so scared. Am I taking the child the wrong way? But here's what I'll tell you, how I visualize your essay now, so you understand. The word lacuna is Latin in origin and means an unfulfilled space or gap. The lacuna effect is the impact that the unfulfilled spaces and gap between our dream and reality have on our lives. Okay, I belong to 2 different worlds, one where I am and one where I was. So your worry about the reality and dream has been removed by this line.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Now here, beta, what I've done is we needed you to bring the black and gray into the next paragraph, right? Now, in this paragraph, I want you to describe, if you see my comments, you'll realize I want you to talk about ballet. When we speak about ballet, the first thing you learn is to be on your toes. And the second thing we always see is the face. It's so serene, it's so calm. And how it was really tough for you to learn to be on your toes, but it was even tougher to bring that serenity and calmness on the face. And how did you do it? By disconnecting with the world, by switching yourself off from others, by going into the music and bringing the calmness into you. And this taught you the ability to stay silent. But the silence, unfortunately, took over the space even in your classroom.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we move on to, we won't have the football at all, beta. Because then I'll tell you why, is that we are moving to, we're now moving to the lunch. Where did the lunch paragraph go? Oh God. Yeah, here at lunch. Okay. I find myself back in the mundane reality of the school canteen, their aroma, there's teams, they're discussing, they're whispering, they're giggling. Bring that, there's so much of excitement in the air. But your hands, just like your voice, never seems to give you a side again. And then I have taken you gaze towards the peaches and cream curtains swing with the gentle wind. And suddenly again. Now here, your suddenly is suspended on the fine peaches and cream silk. Now, beta, we have to connect the first paragraph to this paragraph. We can't leave them loose. So you tell me that ballet taught you the ability to challenge, to conquer a move. And you wanted to challenge yourself further. So you took up aerial silk yoga. Okay. And then you speak about, before you move about, I couldn't, or, you straight wrote that I managed. Instead of that, tell me how you struggled, how your stomach hurt, how giddy you felt, how you nearly broke your leg one point of time. But then, while the actually hanging in the air was really tough, what was tougher? Don't go the teacher route. What was tougher was having to collaborate. Now we're moving you from single to collaborate. Okay. So what was difficult was that you couldn't close your eyes here. You couldn't get lost in the music here because you had to follow the lead of the one before you. And what you did was to lead the one after you. So you'll learn to talk to each other. You'll learn to use your hands as expressions. You'll learn to use your body or your eyes as a conversation method with each other. And that gradually allowed you to, how you say, I took the plunge, and in that exhilarating moment, I fell in love. And as we together, we did the dropping and we did the motion and we did the twirls and the twists. And in the end, you write about, no longer were we bound by any gravity for that moment. You also realize the ability to be able to have a conversation, a collaboration with each other. Does that make sense, Beta?
Yeah.
Correct? So because I'm taking you from a single solo silent performer to thrown into a group performer where conversation is everything. Because if there are no conversations or collaborations, you can all die a grim death, right? So that needs to be brought out here. Then I will tell you where we are moving from at class, at lunch to at college. Okay. Now here, what I want you to do is, and imagine the picture with me, Varushka. My dorm mates have set up their rooms with beautiful sparkles and photographs, and I see them walking towards me with a cup of coffee. As I am, as I put on the last painting on the wall. And then I want you to describe this painting. This is a labor of my love. I have created it with the, and I want you to show how you would do. You put it in your painting language. What I want you to show is the blacks and grays of charcoal, which have been scrubbed and nudged and put into the canvas. And then on top of those hard, sharp moves or hard, sharp, what do you call it, colors, I'm putting the slow, delicate swivel, gentle strokes of oranges and pinks and yellows and greens. And as the two of them merge into each other, a whole new meaning arrives of seamlessly moving from one to the other. Okay, so the girls walk up to me and one of them asks me, so this is then it is, right? It is and not it was. Okay, and ask me. So there is no was in this case. So they say, hey, what does this painting signify? Okay, or what does this painting symbolize? And suddenly, okay, and you say and suddenly, but then you start saying, but this time I stayed on with reality. My ability to converse and collaborate at Aerial Silk Yoga taught me to use my mouth taught me to use my body as well as my voice at the right time, at the right place. And then you say, and your answer is, this painting has been created by me, and I like to call it the lacuna effect. And then your next line is, and I have that written because in the middle of the night at 5 in the morning, God knows I was writing it. And your line is going to be, your end is going to be, the painting represents me, the girl who has learned to live in the present without having to disappear into the past. I call this piece the lacuna effect. That's how your essay ends.
Live in the present without?
The painting represents me.
Yeah.
That's the answer you give to them. The girl who has learned to live in the present without having to disappear into the past. I call this piece the lacuna effect.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Now do you understand what we're doing with your essay? So we start with the lacuna effect. We've moved into a completely random dream, reality is, was, to the end where we say, what is lacuna effect to you? Okay, which is why I need the ballet to connect to the yoga, to connect with these girls walking up and asking you about your painting. And which is why I need the grays and blacks to be merged and submerged with the oranges and yellows and the peaches and the creams, whatever you want to throw in. Do you understand the essay, beta? Okay,
Yeah.
so you start writing, beta, and
Yeah.
leave this as it, start draft 2, copy paste there and start writing.
Okay.
Do you
On like
understand
a
what
next page. Yeah, next
No,
page.
beta, write on top here.
Here only.
Okay,
Okay.
here,
Sure.
draft 2. Okay,
Hmm.
remove all edits and write final
Okay.
lines. Got it? So वहां पे जो मैंने comments and edits इतने किए, वहां से copy paste करके आप यहाँ पे अब लिखना शुरू करो. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Done.
thanks, Varushka. You can, go offline if you want. Up to you. Okay, Arjav, let's do you because I'll need a little more time with you. Arjav, love the way your essay is flowing, Arjav. I have to be honest. It's even though you're not the best of writers, even though you're a repetitive writer, what you have done is you listen to me. And you've not allowed your brain to work any other way but listen to me. So that's phenomenal because that's how it's working so phenomenally well. So let's go to your essay. Let's work on the structure a little bit so you understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Compound. It constitutes elements that do not retain their individual properties, rather has its own unique individuality. Okay. I love chemistry and I've enjoyed visualizing different chemical reactions and also performing the same in the laboratory. I'd rather just say and have visualized performing. I love chemistry and have enjoyed performing different chemical reactions in the laboratory, right? Why do
Yes.
we need to visualize it? But never knew that compounds are created and exist even in relationships. Oxygen. We need to cut this description of oxygen down. So colorless, inflammable, and positioned between nitrogen and fluorine, it is always hungry for more electrons. So I'm just wondering if you want to call it, forget the colorless and inflammable and just say position between nitrogen and fluorine.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Because that describes you. I was the master of the house, most loved and probably spoiled. Spoiled is with a T, it's not ED, right?
But why is it? Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll work on it. One sec. Okay. I always got what I wanted even before my elder sister could get the same. And not important. I always got what I wanted.
Okay.
And we'll go straight to, and with my sister leaving for further studies, I got further freedom over my room, the kitchen, and even the television. But sadly, this was going to be short-lived. I never want to reveal what is going to happen in the next paragraph.
Yes.
Makes sense? Okay, hydrogen. Again, cut it. Simplest and first member of the family of chemical elements. Remove the colorless and inflammable again. Okay. My grandfather was bought into a household and overnight into a household and overnight everything changed. The eldest of the house, he carried that look on his face. What look? I mean, either we can just remove this line altogether because describing will take more time, or you
Yes.
particularly want to talk about some look.
Like his eyes used to get big when he was angry. So if we can add that, or
Okay, so
but
let's
it's
add that
better
in the
to
combustion.
yes,
We'll try
yes.
and add it there. Okay, that's
Yes.
combustion. Currently, you're describing your grandfather. Okay,
Yes.
so like a newsreader says, today it's going to be a tornado and maybe 250 million people will lose their lives. That's how I want it to be flat. Okay, my grandfather was brought into a household and overnight everything changed. And I want you to use words like brought because you're still a kid and you're like, what the hell? Why was he brought into this household? Instead of,
Yes.
he came.
Yeah.
All my privileges were taken away and given to him. I had to share my room and bathroom with him. And he really was the worst roommate anyone could have asked for. Love that line. I was no longer in control of my belongings, as even the control of the television went to him. I don't think that's important. I would like to
Yes.
straight come to my bedside.
Yeah.
Had become the nurse's tray. Brilliant. filled with different kinds of medicines, machines, and tablets. I now had to be more careful even while sleeping, as one turn here, um, as one turn here and there could lead to a destruction of medical supplies worth a year. Loved it. Very cartoony, very gimmicky, very childish. Loved it. To make things work, he had a habit of snoring, which meant I had to go to bed earlier than him to barely get a good night of sleep. So, your entire tantrum has come in this very well. And also shows him that, he's the simplest and the first member of the chemical elements, and he was given everything. Yeah, and I would have liked to say he had the right. He had the right somewhere. He had the right to my room. Yeah, almost like there's no joint rights here. He had the right to my room, bathroom, and bathroom. And he really was the worst roommate anyone could have asked for. Brilliant. I love it. Okay, combustion reaction. We've cut it. A reaction wherein a substance reacts with oxygen. No, I cut it. Why did you bring it back? What are you doing? Oh my God, have you just removed all my edits?
No, I've not removed all of them.
A substance reacts with oxygen and releases energy in the form of heat and light. Now, hear the word heat. We need to build the anger that comes. Heat, okay?
Yes.
Fun came to be a dying word in my mind. I was always fond of playing and watching soccer and was so, fond of playing soccer. We can just make it short. Fond of playing and watching soccer. I was always kicking the ball inside the house. But one such afternoon, my grandfather caught me playing football. Football nahi hai beta, soccer hai. Please change it. Consequently erupted with anger and shouted at me for disturbing his prayers. Okay, so erupted with anger was not needed. We could just say, caught me playing soccer and shouted at me for disturbing his prayers. Even the smallest habits of mine, walking in the house without slippers, I almost feel that, using the phone at the dining table disturbed him to the core. And the worst one, and his reaction. I want to know his reaction here. Okay?
Okay.
And the worst was
Yes,
that every time I walked home post an exam, he would be guarding the door to ask me how the paper was. First exclamation used because you hated it. I was not the best student and disliked having my weakness being pulled up in this manner. Okay? Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I want some reaction here, whatever the reaction was. Either he would take away your phone, or he would, whatever, or
Understood. Yeah.
something in short needs to be brought out here.
Yes.
Now, I don't want the water to be introduced yet, beta. Don't give out your secrets. I wanted him to go away, but not in the way that it was going to happen. Okay, there. And this will connect here. Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
That's the structure layout. One night, trying desperately to sleep, I couldn't help but overhear the conversation between my grandfather and the doctor. Okay. I initially thought that this might be about some regular, itna bolne ki zarurat nahi hai. I want you to say just the words I said. I didn't want any of this.
Okay.
I was old enough to realize that the kidney failure was, the words kidney failure and critical were enough to make me realize that his days with me were numbered. Okay, I didn't want this. I just wanted you to say, I now started to realize why he behaved beta, like he did. And remember, at the end, you have to explain this. Okay? You have to explain he behaved like this. Okay. He behaved like this because he wanted need to learn, understand our culture, us, our religion, whatever he wanted you to understand. Okay, this will come in the end, not here. Okay, this is for the end. Okay, now formation of water will begin. Reaction of oxygen and hydrogen to form water, the most useful molecule for the existence of life. I don't even think we need this. Okay, it's pretty obvious that water is one of the most important. I started spending more time with him, during which I got to know that we both loved watching cricket, and IPL became our favorite pastime. They won't know what IPL is, beta.
Yes, so I was
You will
in
have to
the
write Premier Leagues or whatever, or international or tournaments, whatever you decide.
okay.
Now you're just jumping. I now started to put more effort into my studies. I don't think this should come here, beta. This needs to come, but later. This will all come when he's gone. I gradually realized that I was enjoying cooking videos on Facebook, just like my grandfather. Don't say Facebook. Don't introduce another word. Just write TV. Okay, or just enjoyed watching cooking videos with my grandfather. Even that's fine, because we've already said he took over the TV.
Watching
So
cooking
yeah,
videos. Yeah.
with my grandfather. I'm surprised he was keen on watching. And to my surprise, he was keen on watching soccer with me once I taught him the rules of the game. So we are both. It's a right the combination. Okay. Okay. Now is where you will say, I don't want the word gradually here. I actually want you to start saying, before this is where talk about how he also started helping you understand the importance of studies, maybe, or if he taught you any subject, then talk about that, or taught. Okay, that's up to you. And then you say, since we were sharing most of our time with each other, we're now a practical team. That was inseparable. Okay, we reflected a completely different part of ourselves, was not needed at all. Okay, when I had to go shopping for clothes, when I had to go shopping for a cousin's wedding, maybe just remove clothes and it'll come later anyway. I chose to go with him rather than my parents. Everyone laughed at me. Now, this was cute. I thought I introduced it, I know, but it was just that he's old and he'll buy old fashioned clothes. But to my surprise, not only did we end up buying the best quality clothes, but 3 suits at the best deal. Oh, too much. Cut it and just say, not only did we pick up, we ended up buying the best quality clothes, but also 3 suits, all very trendy, that I still wear to any wedding, right? That
Yes,
I could still wear maybe to any wedding. Okay, electrolysis. I love this. The greatest enemy of water.
I think
That
dissociates.
dissociates water into hydrogen and oxygen is not needed. It just dissociates water. That's it. No, right? Dissociates water. That's it. Okay. My immediate goal. Okay. I want you to start again with the way you had started. Okay. And this immediate goal will come later. Okay. Dialysis was the greatest enemy of our bond. And then, before you lose him, here is where you want to talk about my immediate goal moving forward was to get good marks in my board. If not for me, for him. Not but. If not for me, for him. Okay. Okay. And talk about how you studied, how even though he was going constantly to the hospital, he was with, his words were constantly with you, those one lines that you said, etc. Okay, I don't want any of this.
Okay.
Okay, I want you to describe more specifically that. You understood, right? He
Yes.
was at the hospital, but in your mind, he was right there. You could hear,
Yes.
you missed his snoring now. You missed the ability to turn your hand and, feel the warmth of his body that was right next to you. All of that
Yes.
is what I want. But you would still get up every single morning, wake up every single night to study, study, study. Okay. And then at the end is where, all I need to say is that I got dash, 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 dash in my board exams. And did you get a prize for anything?
No.
Okay, what did you get? And as my name was called to receive the certificate on stage or whatever,
Yeah.
I carried with me my, I wore the spectacles that he never lived without,
Yes.
replacing his power with mine, but never replacing his love or identity, but never replacing his love or identity that had become a part of me. We were water and will always remain water. Something like that. So we'll
Yes.
end it that way. Got it? You've understood, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
Superb. You have very little work. Move on. Get your draft 2 right on top. Okay, so that nothing is lost. Okay, cool. Tia?
Yeah.
Let's move to you, sweetie. I haven't read your essay because I
Okay.
was told just now. So let's read it together like I did with my kids and
Yeah.
understand each paragraph. Okay, that's how I like to work.
Okay.
Okay.
So I've already made a draft 2 under draft 1.
Oh, nice. So should I go straight to, let's read draft 1 first?
Yeah,
Or should
yeah.
we go straight to draft 2, as you wish?
No, I mean, I haven't made many changes to draft 2, so you can read any.
Okay, then let's go to draft 2. Okay, Operation Smile. Have you ever considered your smile to be a privilege? It wasn't until recently that I realized something as simple as a smile is truly a privilege. Or maybe it's not as simple as a smile. So you're saying one of the two you want to go with, right?
Yeah. Yeah. One sec. Yeah.
I think, have you ever considered your smile, to be a given? It's none of us take it as a privilege. It wasn't until recently that I realized that something actually as simple as a smile is truly a privilege. You shouldn't start by saying, have you considered to be a privilege?
Okay.
So you say
Yeah.
start with, does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
ever considered, your smile to be a given?
Okay.
Okay, simple. It wasn't
Yeah.
until recently that I realized something that as simple as a smile is actually a privilege. Not truly, it's actually a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's remove this one because this I don't like.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
In January, no one knows which January you're talking about now.
Yeah,
How many
that's
years
actually
ago?
what I wanted to ask you. Like, how do you
When
give
did
like
you start this?
timelines
Yeah.
in an
When
essay?
did you start this?
Jan this year, like 2023 January.
Oh, it's as recent as this that you got into it?
Yeah.
You've never worked on it earlier or anything, right?
Not
Can we,
really. Like,
because
I
it's
was
so,
in,
my problem is if it's so recent, then I don't want you to write it, beta, because it sounds like a privilege, if I may be honest.
yeah.
I would rather than say that,
I don't have to give a timeline then. Like I can
Yeah, I
just
don't.
say,
So my seniors offered me the opportunity to head. This sounds like what? Why? You know what I'm trying to
yeah.
say? It's horrible. That's not the way we're going to go.
Hmm.
No. So I want you to say how, let's move to your real story. What happened? How did Operation Smile come into your school? Who started it? What was happening in your school?
Okay, so Operation Smile is now a legacy CAS project in OIS. It was started by like a few of my seniors in 2019. And what usually, okay, this is just like what I'm narrating to you so you understand the story. So what usually happens in our school is that CAS projects, once they're done for a few years, they become a legacy project, and seniors like hand it down to juniors. So I don't actually know like what, because it's like everything is student led, what the other student is thinking. I mean, I don't really know like why they handed down to juniors, but for me, it was a little different because there was like this whole thing happening about how the seniors wanted to hand it down to their friends who were juniors, but for me, like I didn't know the seniors, so it was literally like
Got it. Got it.
yeah.
But before that, 2019, Operation Smile was introduced in our school. Okay. Describe what it was here.
Okay.
And then before, we will twist the timelines a bit in your case. Describe what
Yeah.
it was and show your interest. Now, when I say show your interest, you can't say, oh, I like the project, I want it to work. I want you to talk about, did you meet one of the students who had?
Yeah. So how I really got like interested in it and actually understood, like I've kind of written about this in the essay, but basically
Show me where, which paragraph?
Yeah. Here. I mean, it's not much in detail, but
This after the ISLC? This one?
no, this is
Tell me
can you
which
see
paragraph?
the
No,
first paragraph, like after the in Jan.
I learned about, well, no, not at all. This is not what I was talking about at all. Where is my write-up? Yeah. Okay. So here what you need to say is, went for a meeting, saw the brochures, or saw a movie, or saw pictures,
Yeah.
and say it was, it was horrific. You recoiled with sheer, that sheer shock.
Yeah.
And then you came home and couldn't forget those faces. And then you started your research on them.
Yeah.
And as you got to know, what did you get to know? What was happening in India? Because in India, it's the worst. I know that. And then you chose to visit a center and then describe, your first, how you controlled your first reaction. You controlled your first reaction, and instantly you knew that it wasn't sympathy they were looking for, sympathy or hatred. They were looking for a collaboration, an understanding. No, more than that, an understanding of knowing they're also humans.
Yeah.
And that's very important. So how you chose to treat them like equals.
Okay.
And you read maybe a book to them, or I don't know, whatever you did, etc., whatever you did, or laughed with them, or played with them, or gave them a joke, or whatever. And then you say that you got involved. at school. And, and maybe a project, whatever you all did in school, and then say that the role of presidency helped you not because of its designation,
Yeah.
but because of the power to do more. I want that to come out now. That's the story.
Yeah. Because even when I was writing it, I was like, if I just say that I was made head or like president of the project, that's just like,
It
okay.
sounds so
And
privileged. Yeah, literally,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, another one of those stories where the girls
Yeah.
learn nothing. So
Yeah.
that's the story. And then I want you to go about talking that you bought the Lima project. Why were you, or what was the selection process? I want to understand that. Why should
Okay.
only 2 be selected and you became 1? What made you that 1? I want to know.
Yeah.
Okay, not as, oh, I'm proud I was the 1, but because I spoke about it. I showed the work. I told them what they needed to hear. They didn't want, whatever you learned
Yeah.
or whatever you did. So that's
Yeah.
where we move. That's the essay I want.
Okay.
Okay, now let's read it and let's see which parts are usable. Okay, my
Okay.
senior offered me da. Absolutely not. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Little did I know that this project would be a lot more than just a responsibility taken on. I like that line. Okay.
Okay.
One day I received a message from Bhuvneshwari from OS India. Well, I don't understand this. You will have to make it simpler. And when you first introduced OS, write OS there so we know it's OS everywhere else.
I did that.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
I received a message from, a small center, or from Bhuvneshwari, a small village center of OS India, or was it, what is it? Is it the main center?
No. So she's like she is the student, like she's the one who works with student volunteers.
Oh, so I received a message from the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, the head. So right from the training head of OS India.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
I can like recheck what her position is with her. Yeah.
Bhuvneshwari, the training head. So, that's a
Yeah.
name. That's nice.
Yeah.
We worked together as we had to keep them updated about the OS related thing. Very boring.
Okay.
Sorry, sweetie. I'm blunter than.
No. It's fine. I'd rather be told than have to. Yeah. I think this is where it gets really descriptive. Like,
not just that, you're just again making yourself sound privileged. No. So again, I want to know first what responsibilities, thus what work did you do? First, you show me that. And
okay.
then unprepared. You were unprepared for this call, which was going to change your life. You were unprepared for this call, for that, for that 2-minute call that was about to change your life forever. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you say that, she spoke, okay, she recognized my work, that the team.
The organization.
The team recognized, yeah, the work that had, or the work rather, I want you to show me the growth.
Yeah.
In our school's attempt to actually, what were you all doing? Funding these left-in clips or creating awareness?
Yeah, it was fundraisers and awareness events.
So, right, to build awareness and fundraise XX dollars for the operation of XX children that happened successfully, right? And thus,
Yeah.
as the leader, they wanted me to, right?
Yeah.
To go for whatever offered me, they offered me. Yeah. Now, how old were you when this happened?
17, because it was this year.
Yeah, I was 17. Yeah, I barely knew of Peru's existence on
That
a
is
map,
true. Yeah, that
right?
is actually true. Like
I agree.
when I heard when she was like, "Do you want to go to Lima, Peru?" I was like, "No." I was like, where is this coming from? And then like to
Yeah.
tell my parents and my dadi that I have to go to South America.
And
What?
I barely knew a Peru on a map. I did not know how I was to convince the
Yeah, I kind of have
3
mentioned this below.
generations of older men and women in my family, and with no clue of what I was expected to do there.
Yeah, that is like,
As I was the first student ever from, I don't know, forget from your school, I think from Mumbai,
yeah,
from India,
yeah,
from India to have been selected to go for a role like this. I want you to say that. So who
yeah,
could you ask? So what did you do? So what did you do? And how did you prepare for it? So how did you prepare?
yeah. This is actually so true because like we were looking for people to like ask and get like and like like parents, they ask other people before sending their children for things like this, and there was nobody to ask. And then I realized, like, when I was so Bhuvneshwari came on the trip, she came as the chaperone, and I realized that when I go back, I am going to be the person other people can ask.
Beautiful line. That's the line I was looking for. And then connected
Yeah.
with people across the globe who probably done this. And finally went there, clutching the hands of my chaperone, Bhuvneshwari. Okay, so I want that whole thing to come. Then what did you
Yeah.
do? Now, obviously, what happened there?
Yeah.
This is very important. What happened there? And what are you bringing back from there
Yeah.
for India and your future plans? Okay.
Yeah.
And there writes your line of now the next person who will go from my school or city or even country can call me to ask me, where is Lima and what will happen to me there? Okay, sorry, I don't know when it became caps. Sorry,
Okay.
I get very excited. This is your
That's
essay flow, beta. Does it make
yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's more clear now.
Okay. So what I want you to do, beta, follow this and you will write the draft here. Okay. Priyanka led draft here. Okay. And now you can start. So just please
Okay.
bring it back to left and remove all this.
Yeah, I'll do that.
But Ishan, I wanted to tell you, you're a very beautiful writer, very emotional. I mean, you come across as a what am I saying? Planned flat? No, as a flat, pan-faced writer, but very emotional. Once you use your words, you just get it, you hit it. So that's phenomenal. Have you seen the edits, beta, that I made?
No, I'll just look at that.
Yeah, we have only 10 minutes. Let's quickly go through it. Because then you will be moving on to the next group. I'll see if I can try and work with you while I'm working with the next group. Let's see how it goes. Okay, let's come. Okay, and you run to catch up to the sun, but it's sinking, racing around to come up behind you again. The sun is the same in a relative way, but you're older. Okay. There's a lot of changes bit I've made and a lot of comments I've written, like why this can't be caps. Then you have to have one or two more comments here. So update that.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, I made a couple of changes. I love the way you've done all this, but I now need a little information on Floyd here. You have to kind of set the pace for why did you use it. So you have to say that, Floyd used this in the song of Dash, and whatever his inspiration, if you know what it is, or it was after which song, it was during which concert, or some relative information,
Like give
statistical.
like a little bit of history, like a little bit of background of the song.
A little bit of background, very little, but something that you find interesting. There would be so much background, but what you chose to like this song for could be the
Okay.
guitaring, could be the method, where it was first performed, the fact that he went live without any instrument or whatever. You choose what you want to talk about, and then you say that the sun to him set in whatever way, probably what he spoke about, but to me, I had definitely, it had made me change. So something like that has to be connected here. So we have to connect back to the song. That's very important here. So connect back to the song. Okay. Then we were to pick up, okay, when I'm sad, she comes to me with 1,000 smiles. She gives to me free. Very beautiful. Which song is this?
It's a song called Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, love the words. Okay. I have made the changes again. Very well written. I made as much changes as I could.
Okay.
And then here's what I did. Again, I want you to say what song, who wrote, why did they write, why is it, and music is your companion. So again, this is an element you need to add. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't think this was making sense, so I kind of have left it there, but we have to probably remove it.
What?
This line bit. I could finally and truly express myself not in the forms of water, letter, and syllable, but in the form of musical notes, chords, and harmonies. I like the line, so I've left it there. So don't remove it just yet. But to end the essay, maybe we could talk just a little bit about another essay, which is kind of preparing you for the new world that you will probably have at college. As you that shows you the ability to future forward. So you pick up one more line, but that you just need to write. And in this case, as I see myself going to college, and I hope to be able to take my love for music, for movie, and soccer, and combine it with the love of whatever you want to expect at college and connect it back to the song. So that's what I wanted as your end. That could be one of the ends. The other end could be that you don't want to pick another song and you want to just say that, in some ways, if you could talk about, what do you expect to do, so here you talk about that you've said that always with 1,000 smiles reminding me everything will be just fine, but how do we move on then to what do you want to do, or what do you want to talk about yourself? Is there any element of yourself that we're missing out on talking? Anything simple, quirky. It doesn't have to be fancy and motivational, blah blah blah. What do you love doing?
What do I love doing? Pretty much like see, like I like cracking jokes and making people laugh and stuff, like using humor and
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Let's end with that. Let's talk about how, you're hoping at college, you're hoping, or whatever the words of lyrics you use, and show yourself there that your first set of friends is not going to be through soccer or through drumming the guitar or grinding on a music concert, whatever, singing, whatever. It's going to be, what's the first joke you're going to tell? When you walk into your dorm, what's the first joke you will probably say? How will you bring humor into the picture to just dwell away the misery or the sadness that everyone carries back with them.
Yeah.
So I would love to end it there. Just one line of a song, whatever line of a song, and that could be a funny or whatever, where you use that line as a crack up joke or as a stand up or whatever you want to do.
All right.
Can you think of something? We can work on it together because you have very little time, so I want to.
Okay, let me just see like which songs I can use.
Yeah, tell me one or two songs that you like. We can do this together, beta. I don't want you to feel alone. I'm already feeling so bad that you've had to take an exam.
Perfect. Hi,
Hi,
how are you guys doing?
good. How are
Good.
you?
I'm good, thanks. All right, let's see. Who should I start with? Can I read over? I've got Arjav's open. I'll read over yours, Arjav. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. Wow, Arjav, this is incredibly creative. I really enjoy the use of, I guess, different chemical, are they like equations?
Yes, ma'am. So
Yeah, it's beautiful. The only thing is, I know that getting 98% in your board exams is something to be really proud of. How does Priyanka feel about you mentioning that in the end? Is that something that she was
I think she had put this line at the end, so I believe that she is okay with that. Or she was kind of telling me to just highlight that if I had got a certificate or a merit-based recognition for
something?
achieving these
Mm,
instead of just mentioning the marks. So I get your point of just mentioning
yeah.
the percentage is not correct, and it is true to braggy and that, so we can cut that off. And
Maybe instead of that, you can put something else, like a certificate, because like grades, right? Like ultimately, I just feel like most students care so much about their grades, and it's not just you. Everyone's very proud of when they achieve really high scores. But is that something that you want to end with? Maybe not. You can end with another achievement of yours, perhaps that you're proud of.
okay.
Yeah, some sort of certificate that's maybe not related to your grades. I mean, though, obviously achieving 98% is incredible, right?
But I think that isn't my whole story lining up with that, because he wanted me to get good grades, and that at the end, that's what it came to be. So
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna share something with you. Um, what if he didn't want you to get good grades?
yeah, that can be one point.
Then what? You wouldn't get good grades. So it's kind of like I don't necessarily want that to be, although yes, it's a motivating factor, and I think you're being completely honest, and I appreciate that. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that actually, because whenever a student tells me that because of so and so they've achieved something, it's almost like at college, therefore, if someone doesn't push you or doesn't want something from you, are you not gonna push yourself?
Got it.
That's kind of where you want to be a little bit careful. That would be what I would say. So where do you mention the grades thing again before this?
Before this, I think in the combustion reaction, in
Here.
that paragraph,
I was always
yes,
kicking in the smallest habits. Oh, I see.
yeah. So
No, okay, then I guess it does make sense. All right. Also, just a note. Yeah, we'll need to cut a few, but that's totally fine.
yes, it is around 700 words. So we'll.
We'll be able to cut like some words. Yeah, the right to my room and bathroom and usually was the worst roommate anyone could have asked for. My bedside had become the nurse's tray for. No, I really like your essay. I don't actually have much I don't want you to add anything. I think that your essay is actually very full, and I think that the story and the progression of who you are and your relationship with your grandfather is very clear. And I actually quite like that in the end, you end on like a very strong positive note, right? Despite
Yeah.
having difficulties, right? No,
Yes.
I really like your essay. I think you've done a great job. Our job, sorry. Yeah. How are you feeling?
No, I think this is a really good essay, and both of my interests and one part of the life that was not highlighted before in the whole application is being highlighted now. So I feel that this is a good combination between chemistry and a part of my life that I would like to show to the examiners.
Yeah, for sure. Amazing. Amazing. Great work. Great work, Arjun. Anyone who wants to go next?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Let me just have a look. 1 second. Vrishka. Okay, so how is your draft coming along?
I think I changed a few things like in the first few paragraphs, whatever Priyanka had told me to.
Mhm.
Only the last, I think three I have just written, so no one has looked over them yet.
Okay. 8 a.m. I'm entering a classroom. Okay, I'm a little confused. Now, what's going on here after lunch?
Sorry, I don't think I added the title. So since it's going from like reality to dream, like some like the dream part is something I wish I could do
Mm-hmm.
or wish would have happened.
Yeah.
So that would be the second part.
So this is the dream.
Yeah, it like kind of shifts to
Oh,
another
so this is at
moment.
lunch reality, right? Right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? And this is at lunch. Can you just write that dream? Yeah, okay. Okay, so where are you gonna go from here?
So this was basically like the turning point where I realized how to speak up or how to communicate. So that's what she was trying to get in at the end.
Yeah, I'm not under okay, so here's where there's like a gap in my understanding. I'm not really understanding maybe you've not written it yet. You haven't written about speaking up, right?
Yeah, it's not explicit as much because in the last paragraph, usually it would change to dreaming, but because I wouldn't be able to express how I'm feeling or like talk to new people basically, but it stays like I'm still in reality and I can explain my painting, and that's what it is.
Okay. 1 second. Okay, so repeat after me. This part is supposed to represent you expressing yourself.
No, so this is like normal, like what's happening. And if you see like each alternating paragraph is like a dream or what I could have done or I think I should have done. And in the last paragraph, I actually do what I should do. rather than just remaining
I'm
silent.
still in reality here. Which one's
Yeah,
this
here,
one?
here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It took me a while to understand that.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure, like, if I'm putting it across correctly, because
Okay, so what's not clear to me is how did you go from not the reality of not raising your hand and not speaking up and not joining to suddenly having a painting that represents that you can and I didn't understand that.
so basically it's like learning ballet first, it was just like an individual thing. So
Mhm.
that's what made me like only, like by myself
Yeah.
and like, a little closed off, you could say. But then as I learned aerial, I had to start communicating with my other performers. So it became like a kind
Yeah.
of a group type of team thing. And that wasn't exactly like communicating, like talking to each other. It was
Yeah.
more of like a given communication when you're performing, like, just to know you have to do this, I have to do this, you're following me, like, intuition types. And then eventually, uh, uh, the last part is like I have learned how to use both ballet and aerial in the end to communicate, to finally speak up.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm lost here. I'm not on I don't see it. Uh
Okay.
okay. That's fine. Maybe. So when you talk about ballet, the interesting thing
Mhm.
is here, you don't mention ballet at all here
Okay.
in your dream. The music envelopes me. I don't
Okay,
know if
so
it's ballet,
it
right?
is okay, so explicitly mentioned.
I think so because if you're trying to show from one sport to not sport, one form of dance to another,
Right.
how you go from singular, like an individual experience to like a shared experience, a
Yeah.
collaborative experience, then I think you need to specify that that's what it is. Because suddenly you mentioned ballet here, and I'm like,
All right. Yeah.
where is this coming from? Okay, I would do that first. Rishka, while you're working on this, can I look at Ishan's as well?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. Ishan, let me have a look. How are you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. All right, let's have a look. All right, so which I look at this one here. Do you want to just take me through what you've written, please?
Like, as in, okay. So you said that, like, I think, like, with lyrics and like a little bit of a story behind it, like, so Priyanka just asked me like which songs do you like, and then I said a song, and like she picked up a lyric from that, and like, she tried to relate it to like football. I think he wrote a paragraph above. So like I kind of expanded on that.
Okay, cool. Let me just have a read. Okay, so Ishan, I'm guessing what I'm finding confusing is where is her feedback and what you're gonna do? Like I'm a little confused about where you are right now.
So I think like her feedback is all in like red.
No, but then there's something about this. Pick two songs. What is this?
Yeah, so no, I wrote like on that I wrote on the paragraph below.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
You just picked one though, not two, right?
Sorry.
Was it one song or two?
Two.
Where's the second one?
It's right below where it says pick two more songs. Oh no, it says pick two more songs, but I picked one song, and she's like, she also said like add something related to like the film when you were at film set or at a film set and stuff. So I combined the song and the film set one into one paragraph.
Okay. Can you? Is it possible actually for you to pick two songs? I think that using this one song for both is getting a little long and drawn out.
No, so I've picked two songs in total.
No, one more, because this part is really long, and I think that it deserves like its own to be split into two.
Okay.
Right, one is about one aspect, and then another is another aspect. So, can you also? Are you comfortable speaking like this, or do you want Arjav and Varushka to leave for a bit?
I'm fine with anything.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you just tell me why did you feel like you wanted to needed to write about this? The part that I've highlighted.
This is basically like giving a little bit of context into like the part after that, and like the reason um where from where I got motivated and stuff.
Yeah, and I think they need to be split up. I think one can be about like the tension, the conflict that you're going through, right?
Yeah.
And then one should be about finding comfort and solace. So find a different song. Because when you put them together, it's making it, if I'm just glancing through your essay, right, as an admissions officer, I might not pay so much attention because generally they don't like reading really long paragraphs and long pieces of writing. It's about being able to split it up so they can glance through and go, okay, I got this. This is one lyric. This is what he's going to write about. This is another lyric. This is what he's going to write about. So I would suggest finding another lyric, right, that you can connect to the comfort and solace you found in music.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend.
And should I make the first part a little shorter, the one which you highlighted?
Which part? Sorry, this
Like
part.
the first part of this one. Yeah.
For now, leave it, right? If there's a space to cut, right, which I think there will be, then yeah, don't worry, that will be dealt with. But for now, just leave it, right? Because yeah, you're still in the process of putting it together, right?
Yeah.
Varushka, how are you coming along?
Yeah, I'm just making the changes right now. What should I do to make it more clear?
I literally think you should be quite explicit. I think you should be like, because you introduce these like living in two worlds, right? And then suddenly you go like, I think maybe that jump is just a little too much for someone who, especially me, like imagine like I haven't been working with you on this and I was like, where is this going? I didn't quite understand. So maybe just make it very clear that this is when you're in a dream and this is when you're in reality. And whenever you're talking about your dream world, make sure that it's very clear that you're talking about one activity like ballet, right? And how what you've learned from that and how that was an individual activity for you, right? And then the transition from, because ultimately what you're doing in your essay is being creative about it, but you're showing a transition, right? From individual to collaborative. And that's very, very important. And if I miss that in this, like you trying to be creative, then that's not really exactly going to work, right? So really try to focus on, there's no need to be so, don't be afraid just to be like, this is exactly what's happening right now in my head, right? Be clear. I think clarity is most important. Okay.
I just wanted to ask, with the movie part, like the film part, should I keep that with the lyric or like the paragraph above that?
I think you should keep it with the lyric, as a separate, like as a precursor to you talking about using music, right?
Okay. I had used both in the same paragraph because I thought I didn't have enough information about the music. Like I thought I didn't have enough content about the music part.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean,
What do you mean by like enough as in
like it would be a pretty small paragraph.
oh, then keep 1 second. No, then it's okay. This can be one paragraph and then this will be another lyric up here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Okay, but really great work, everyone. I think you guys have some really interesting ideas. Like, I don't think I've ever read anything like what you've written, Varushka. It's incredibly unique. And I think if you just manage to clarify and make it abundantly clear that you are going from one world to another and that in your dream world, these are the things, the values that you're bringing and how they combine into making your reality in the end, right? To form your reality. Okay.
Okay.
Ishan, I love your lyrics. I love how emotional and honest you are on your writing. You're a very natural writer, right? It comes across incredibly profound, and I really appreciate that. And Arjav, your essay is also incredibly creative. I think all three of you have really probably one of the more difficult, I suppose, topics that you've chosen to write about, but it's really working quite well. So good job, guys.
Okay. Hi guys, how are you?
Hi.
Hi. Okay, you must be getting pretty tired now, right? People talking at you constantly. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'd like to give you individual feedback, if that's okay. So should we start with V first, Varushka first, and then if we go to Ishan and then Arav, is that all right? So I'll get your essays up and we'll go through them and I'll give you my perspective. So Ishan and Arav, I'll message you in the Common App chat when you can join back in. Is that okay?
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
you don't want to sit there and listen to people getting feedback of their essays. That's not any use to you, right? Okay. So you, Ishan and Arav can leave now, and I'm just going to talk to Varushka. Have I said your name right?
Yeah,
Okay. Hi, Varushka. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay. So tell me, how's this process been for you? Are you feeling more confident?
Yeah, more confident that I've started something, but
Exactly.
I'm still a little, I think it's not quite there yet. Like Amy just spoke to me, and it needs to be a lot more clear in what it's trying to put forward. I feel like that's not exactly coming through.
Okay, so I see what you've got here in terms of, so you're like living in this parallel universe, right?
Yeah,
Of reality and your world.
yeah,
To which to a certain extent all of us do. I have to be honest. It's all of us do it. Some more to the others than some less. And you
yeah,
started with a timeline, obviously 8 p.m. Okay, you talk about your school and then you've got your so you're in class, you're in math class or whatever, but you basically, this is the dream,
I
is where you want to be.
where I wish I was. And
Yes.
the dream is also talking about a situation that I have already been in,
Mm,
and basically I'm improving on it, or basically I'm speaking about what I've learned from
yeah.
particular situation.
Okay.
Yeah,
So my first thing to you is you've gone from numbers to lunch. For me,
yeah,
that as a because we're going, this is a kind of semi-montage style, isn't it? Right? Where
yeah,
you have these chunks. So we
yeah.
need to keep we need to keep that uniform. So either
Okay,
you have first period or first class. I think the numbers are better. So lunch maybe 1 p.m. Right?
okay, sure.
And then you can say at lunch, because you've mentioned the other one. Or why don't you do 8 a.m. math class, 1 p.m. lunch? Yeah. So then the
Yeah,
reader also knows exactly what's going on. The reason I'm saying this is because as a reader, remember, these people have very limited time. They
agree.
don't want to have cognitive overload trying to figure out what you're doing. They want it to be simple, right? So
Yeah.
by doing it that way, yeah, yeah. Okay, perfect. So you've talked about teamwork in this paragraph, right?
Yeah.
So are you in a boarding school?
No, not currently.
So what's a dorm room?
So, that was the idea that Priyanka gave me. She said to write about the dorm or like how about your friends basically asking about one of your art pieces. So I could
Okay.
just change it to my room or something like that.
No, it's okay. If you want to take a bit of poetic license, it's fine. Everybody does with their Common App, sweetie, you know?
Okay.
Okay. All right. How many words are you at, by the way?
Let me just check. Oh, 707.
So quite a lot, right? So we
Yeah.
need to reduce a little bit. So I think you should reduce the reality bit for all of the paras.
Okay.
Because that's not telling us much, is it? The para we
Right.
want to focus on is the dream. Yeah?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
that tells us your skills, your personality, and all that stuff. So I would cut from the reality. In fact, reality, you could just write 2 sentences, because that's the
Okay.
problem with reality, isn't it? We don't look at it as a holistic thing. We want to get away from it.
Okay.
My last advice
Mhm.
is that the end, you need to show how the next stage of your life, as in college, is going to allow you to merge the two.
Yeah.
That to me would be a good ending. Do you know what I mean? Because you
Yeah.
don't want to keep going down this vein of I'm in these two worlds. You want to say, okay, the worlds are merging, and that's the key here as to how are you going to get there for the worlds to merge.
Yeah, so that's what I've tried somewhat to say in the last paragraph, like with the painting,
Mm.
like finally being able to talk about it or like, um, tell
So
my
then
friends something
then
like
you
that.
need to, yeah, then you need to say where my dream world becomes reality, because by saying I'm still in reality, that's still got the negative connotation of reality, hasn't it? I'm still
Okay.
here. Do you see what I mean?
Correct.
It needs
Yeah.
to, we want that ending to be a positive, a formative, okay, I'm moving forward because I've learned to merge these two worlds, the one that I have to live in and the one I'd like to live in, into
Yeah.
the one that I am living in. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah. So my dream changes to reality, something
Yeah,
like
they
that.
merge.
Okay. So, but would you think it is something that an admissions officer would understand? Like, is it clear enough that someone is understanding what is
Yeah,
happening?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about two different spheres. We all live in two different spheres.
Yeah.
But the problem is when the sphere in our head takes over, and we then don't perform in the sphere in real life, right? So the
Yeah.
ideal, we have a merge of the two. The two are meshed together,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay,
Okay.
sweetie.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you no problem. My pleasure. You can leave now, and well, I'll talk to the next student.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you?
Good, ma'am.
Okay, let's have a look at your essay. How have you found the whole process?
It was good, ma'am. Like, it was quite engaging. I didn't think that we will be able to finish even the first draft in like 2 days. So, yeah.
Okay. So,
Yes, ma'am.
draft 2, I'm looking at draft 2. We're on the same document, right? I can see you there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to read through it. The only line I was a bit unsure of was I was the master of the house. I can understand what you're trying to say, that you were the most important person in the house, right? Most loved and probably spoiled. But
Yes,
master,
so yeah. Mhm. So we are trying to just build up an image of me like you said, privileged and between everyone gets what he wants. So that kind of image. So for that, me and Priyanka ma'am use this one. So
okay,
yeah.
yeah. I love the way you've brought in all the chemistry terms. It's great. So when your grandfather was brought into the household,
Yes,
why
ma'am.
were all your privileges taken away and given to him?
Ma'am, because he was the eldest and
Okay. So I think that needs to be put in perspective, because
yeah,
remember, we could have someone who culturally doesn't understand the way our Indian hierarchy works. Yeah.
okay.
And why did your grandfather come to live with you?
So, ma'am, that is a bit later. So we are not just revealing everything right now. So that
Okay,
will
so
come.
instead of my grandfather was brought into our household, why don't you say my grandfather came to live with us? That's a better way of putting it. And overnight, everything changed.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, okay, okay. So he became your roommate, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I understand now. Okay. And say, but then you need to say that and became my roommate, the worst roommate to have.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so also this line here, I had to be more careful even with sleeping, as one turn here and there could lead to the destruction of a year's worth of medical supplies. Change those around.
Yes, ma'am.
Instead of supplies worth a year's worth. Yeah, okay. Good, good, good. Very nice. I really like it, Arav. It's really great. Super.
Okay, and ma'am, I wanted your advice on one thing. Like
Yeah.
when we are mentioning the chemistry aspect, like when we are mentioning about oxygen, hydrogen. So the paragraph underneath it, for example, if we are talking about hydrogen, and the
Mm.
paragraph underneath is of my grandfather. It starts with my grandfather. So should we mention like hydrogen, my grandfather was like this, or this structure is better?
No, this is fine because they can see the link. I could see the link, right?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So it's very good. Very nice.
And one more thing, towards the end, I'm mentioning my marks like 98%. So when
Yeah.
I had a talk with Miss Amy, so she was a bit unsure about highlighting grades. So,
Yeah.
but Priyanka ma'am told me that you should highlight because your story is aligning with the grade. So,
Yeah, but
what
I
do you
wouldn't
think?
put a percentage. I kind of tend to agree with Miss Amy when you say when I fulfill my potential in my board exams,
Okay.
because that's saying that you
Got
did really well. You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Then it's fine because you're saying that you did really well, but you're not kind of bragging.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't understand this for the H2O. Yeah. I understand now the H2O. We were water and will always remain water. Why don't you put forever H2O? Because
Yes,
then
ma'am.
it brings back the chemistry, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Ishan. How are you?
Hi.
Hi. So I've been looking at your form, the doc that we share. Do
Yeah.
you do you have a proper second draft, like in a complete prose without all the highlights and everything?
No. I just made the corrections on this itself.
Okay. Because I'm not sure which bit is staying and which bit is going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I think everything over here is pretty much staying.
So can you see where I am?
Uh,
I'm starting.
yeah,
I'm starting, and you run and catch. Is this the right place where I start?
yeah.
Okay. And so the whole thing until is it I had never failed before? Is that right?
No, it's after that as well.
Okay. to all the way down, right?
Yeah.
Okay, isn't that going to be too many words?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Let me see how many words we have to start with.
I had asked Priyanka about like the number of words, but she said, "Don't worry about that. Just write, and then like later you can share."
And does it finish where with a smile on my face?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's just if we know how many words we need to get rid of, then we can. So you've got 1114. So you're almost double.
Okay.
Okay. So in the sense of what goes and what stays needs to be decided, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this quote that you've got here, where is that from?
It's a song lyric. It's from the song Time.
Okay, but that needs to be acknowledged then, right? Because whoever is reading it needs to know that where the source is from.
Yeah, I acknowledged it later.
Okay. 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 So what are these different montages sort of trying to tell us? So you've got the football. I understand that. So that's about teamwork, about realizing that you only, you have to play in a team and all that. Then we go on to the music, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens here?
So basically it's like the failing of the first song, and like she said, incorporate like when you went on set and like what you learned from there. So I spoke about like how every scene there were like 100 retakes and a lot of cuts. So like I try to tell what that taught me and how I applied that to like my life.
Okay. You know what? I think if you just kept songs, because music is obviously such a big passion of yours, and
Yeah.
didn't have football, it would work better,
Okay.
personally.
The football part, like Priyanka advised me to do that, so then I expanded on that.
Okay. Okay, let me talk to her and see what we can come up with. Because at the moment, I'm not following what's going on. You know what I mean? I'm finding it hard to follow.
Yeah.
And if I'm finding it hard to follow, then your admissions tutor will definitely find it hard to follow. Okay, I'll talk to Priyanka about you and see what we can do. Are you
Okay.
working with her anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not so very urgent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. We'll see you in a bit. Yeah.
Amy, Mary, and I are overwhelmed with the amount of work that y'all have put in, and we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Some of y'all are going back with a phenomenal story almost ready, some with a phenomenal amount of feedback from us to make your story ready, and hopefully none with no stories. But at the end of the day, y'all have worked very hard, and we indeed very grateful to you for that. Because at the end of the day, an editor is only as good as a writer. And each one of you have shown us the need of y'all to be able to write. So thank you very much for this from all three of us. We want y'all to take a moment now to first tell us what or how has this workshop helped you? Where do you stand now? And then we will all read some parts of our essays or half our essays or some elements that are done. so that we can get a concrete feedback from even our friends and students and all the counselors here. Now, with that, we can start with anyone. Please just unmute yourself. Tell us your journey in these 2 days, what you've learned, what you felt, almost like a testimonial for us as well, I hope, a learning for us as well, I hope. It's time for you to be our counselor, and then read a part of your essay or your entire essay. If someone, any of you don't want to read your essay yourself, let us know. Your counselor will read it for you. Okay, who's raising the hand? Cool, Rohan, go for it.
So I think the first essay that Amy ma'am read and the final essay that you read, Priyanka ma'am, were very, very different. I'm really happy with how my essay turned out. I do think that there's still a problem with the word count. I have to like cut it down. But yeah, I think this experience has been really helpful. Like I said from the start, I didn't really know what direction to go with this essay. I kind of knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't really know exactly how to get my words out. So I think that's what this whole experience helped me with.
Read a part of your essay for us, maybe halfway, or just read some part of it and then read the end so we know where you've gone with it.
Okay, cool. So 1100 days, 400 compositions, 150 rejections, and it still hurts. Will any path, any decision I make change the course of my music career, or will it always end in failure? My path to music began on the night when the biggest Punjabi artist ever, AP Dillon, came to my city to perform. I was ecstatic but devastated when I found out the tickets were sold out. This didn't stop my friends and I scouting for a place with a view. We climbed on top of dumpsters right outside the venue. Though we could not see anything, we heard every song reverberate through the field and to the open sky. We danced to lively tunes and chanted every lyric with people we had never met before. This is when I knew music was my passion. That night was more than an unforgettable experience.
Rohan, speed of 1, not 2.5.
That night was more than an unforgettable experience. It was the start of my journey to become a musician. I'll go into, I guess, the conclusion now. 1100 days, 400 compositions, 150 rejections, and although it still hurts, it taught me resilience. But these lessons will help me for the rest of my life. The voices in my head were finally gone, and I am now confident in myself. I'll always try to overcome any obstacle that's in my path because, after all, I write my story, and it's only a failure if I give up.
Awesome.
Rohan, brilliant. I love your end. I'm glad we worked on that. Loved your starting, but more importantly, the way you built the flesh of the story in the middle. Outstanding.
Yeah, well done, Rohan. Thank you for taking feedback.
Really, and I
well
love
done.
the stats at the start and the finish.
Yeah, me too. I really like
I
that.
I love the statistical stuff. I know Amy, she's so sick of me wanting to use this, but I love it. Okay, next. Children, you all can raise your hands. I don't want to pick on you all this time. Yes, Chivantika.
So in the beginning, as I said earlier, at the beginning of the session, I was super confused, but Miss Amy helped out a ton with the structure and, just kind of getting my thoughts out because I was kind of caught up in my head and I didn't know where to begin. So that really helped. And then the feedback from all three of you was even more helpful. And even in the beginning, having 3 prompts to pick from, like 3 topics that I could go whatever direction I felt like, was really useful. So I guess I could read my essay now. Just a second. Okay. My dining table became a vibrant canvas with pots of paint and colored pencils that were even brighter than the sun. The cheesy grins on the faces of the kids who lived next door, their little fingers reaching over to grab the biggest paintbrushes, reminded me of when I was 4 years old, running around in my house in an oversized apron and painting every wall I could find. Each of the kids I mentored worked on unique pieces, from realistic and precise still life drawings to apples and pears to fantastic illustrations of a world full of aliens and monsters. Although the pieces were so different, they were building blocks of their life, reflecting parts of each of them. It reminded me of my first framed painting, a Donald Duck on the wall, which was more like a splatter of blue and yellow paint. It represents the beginning of my journey of seeing my life through the lens of creating art. Preparing the canvas. As someone who has lived on 2 continents, attended 6 schools over the past 12 years, I admire the art of adaptation. Walking through the streets of Little India in Singapore, or living 20 minutes away from the White House, I have come across more cultures than I can count. Like a complex painting with different textures and compositions, the world looked like a colorful painting. Instead of feeling uncomfortable amidst cultural differences, I started to appreciate the diversity in people just like I would appreciate the varying textures of a painting. And then the conclusion, indeed, I see my life as a vast canvas with colors and textures that make me who I am. I've come to appreciate each brushstroke of culture, community that reminds me of who I've grown, of how I have grown over the years. I will always be the girl who isn't afraid to use the brightest colors and make an impression on the fresh pages of my sketchbook.
I like your change of preparing the canvas. I thought that was better. But we still have to work. You have to work on your headers. They're a little confusing. But well done.
Thank
Really
you.
well done. Next, Amy, in her case, I felt that the headers were mismatched with what she was writing. So we changed the preparing the canvas, and there were a couple of others that she could have changed.
That's totally fine.
Just the preparing the canvas added a little end to it. So that was great. Who's next? Anyone? Raise your hands.
So, yeah.
Thanks,
So,
Sarah.
so we worked on my essay quite a bit, and I still think it has some work left. So I think I can just start reading if that's all right. Yeah. So I'll read the first 2 and then the last one because the middle is a little like there's still quite a bit left to sketch out. All right. So a sailor who began his journey like any other but was suddenly thrown into 7 wondrous epic voyages. A teenage detective who solves intriguing mysteries with her 2 best friends. A pair of siblings who are transported to faraway adventures through the magic treehouse. My earliest memories are those of the bedtime stories read to me. Waiting eagerly by the door, keeping a keen ear out for the sound of footsteps and jingling of keys that signaled my parents' arrival from work, marked the beginning of what would be a lifelong love for stories. Then the next paragraph. When I was finally able to read on my own, books became my closest companions, and each page was a getaway to endless possibilities. As I grew older, I began to see stories everywhere. From the murals behind my favorite cafe that are reminiscent of a 1960s Bollywood, to my polarizing and rather contentious biryani preferences. And then in parentheses, there's a curious connection between the addition of potatoes and British colonialism. It wasn't long before I realized that stories were not just a means to escape the mundane, but also mirrors that reflected the complexities of life and the human condition. Stories helped me connect to the world around me. And then I go on to talk about how it relates to my life in like more specifics. And then finally, as my conclusion, I have these days have been embracing the role of a storyteller, whether it be through my endeavors in debate or my stint as Ecotopia president. Storytelling is an integral part of how I engage with the world around me. I'm excited to explore the limitless potential of storytelling, where the stories I tell and the stories I encounter are woven into the fabric of my world, a world that celebrates the diversity and depth of human experiences. That's about it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. The middle needs work, but I'm sure you'll get there. It's gorgeous. Next, go for it.
Okay, so I think my ending still needs work, but
You can just read the first 2 paragraphs. That's absolutely fine.
yeah. So Jiggle Rani, Fatso, and Hippo are just a handful of nicknames I was given as a child. Being overweight led me to feel different and also be treated differently. My weight made me an easy target for cruel remarks and ridicule, chipping away at my self-esteem. I felt isolated and powerless by the constant barrage of insulting words. Simultaneously, being overweight burdened me physically and emotionally, compounding the effects of the bullying. As I grew older, I realized that society judges you first by the way you look rather than who you are. My first breakthrough into breaking the barrier of looks happened at a community music class. During the difficult adjustment to a new city in 7th grade, I tried to fit in as the new kid as I saw everyone around me was playing an instrument. I had unsuccessfully tried keyboards and guitar earlier, but I found my true calling hidden in the sounds of the drums. To my astonishment, I found normality in an unlikely place. The class. The first few days were a little tough, tough, as even in this class, I could see the other students staring at me due to the way I looked, and I could feel the judgment in their eyes. However, when I put my hands on the drums, the struggle to blend in with the new faces vanished. The rhythmic pulses struck a deep chord within me, sparking a love of music that would transform my life forever. Now, I'm just going to speak the last paragraph. Uh, Life's symphony is a complex composition with highs and lows that harmonize to create a unique melody for each of us. While my own symphony was filled with struggles from an early age, each piece has come together to form a beautiful orchestra. The Jiggle Rani nickname no longer bothers me as it used to, as it's a part of who I am. From getting bullied to being on the school basketball team, I believe I went from Rani to Raja.
And explain again, beta, Raja King. Okay.
Yeah. It's written. Yeah.
Shabzi, if you notice, I just made a couple of changes in the transition here to bring the community story. But he was taking too much time with the drums and all of that. So just that one line seemed to have got that beautiful beginning that you've got him to do. So that was very well done. Arman, well done. Love the essay. I'm glad you chose this Rani to Raja story. I was really hoping you choose it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, next. Arja.
So
First, you can tell us what you felt
yes.
about this. I forget that. That's important
So
to us.
before coming to this bootcamp, I never thought that I would be able to complete even the first draft in 2 days, because I have had many friends who are saying that they started their drafts in May or June and they couldn't even finish till September. So I was a bit curious about that. But the whole process was very detailed. Like initially, I got three different perspectives on my essay, which also helped me shape my essay. But in the and now when my second draft is complete, I'm pretty satisfied with the whole essay, and I just need to work a bit on the word count of the essay. And yeah, so I'll just read the essay. Compound. It constitutes elements that do not retain their individual properties, rather has its own unique individuality. I love chemistry and have enjoyed performing experiments in the laboratory, but never knew that compounds are created and exist even in relationships. Oxygen, a fiery element, relentlessly craving electrons, igniting sparks wherever it ventures. I was the master of the house, most loved and probably spoiled. I always got what I wanted, and with my sister leaving for further studies, I got further freedom over my room, the living room, and even the television. But sadly, this was going to be short lived. Hydrogen. It is the simplest and the first member of the family of chemical elements. My grandfather was brought into our household, and overnight everything changed. All my privileges were taken away and given to him. He had the right to my room and bathroom, and he was the worst roommate anyone could have asked for. My bedside had become the nurse's tray filled with different kinds of medicines, machines, and tablets. I now had to be more careful even while sleeping, as one turn here and there could lead to a destruction of years' worth of medical supplies. To make things worse, he had the habit of snoring, which meant I would have to go to bed earlier than him to barely get a good night of sleep. So at the end, electrolysis, the greatest enemy of water. It dissociates water. Dialysis was the greatest enemy of our bond. In February 2022, my immediate goal moving forward was to get good marks in my board examinations. If not for me, it would be for him. I got 98% in my board exams, and as my name was called to receive the certificate on stage, I wore the spectacles that he never lived without, replacing his power with mine, but never replacing his love or identity that had become a part of me. We were water, and we will always remain water. Yeah.
I am speechless with this essay. Sorry. Amy, it's like you are with Zara. I think I've fallen in love with this essay so badly. Okay, wonderful, Arjo. Thank you for that. Let's move.
So one thing that stuck out to me in this program basically is like how I was able to quickly be given an idea and I was able to like come off of it really well. And I also find it really interesting how instead, because normally people, they look at the prompt, they're like, oh, I want to do question number 3 of the Common App prompts, and they build a whole response to it. Like I built a response on myself, like I was the prompt, and then I'm just finding the best thing that fits it. So we switch the roles. And I think that's like a better way to do it because it shows who we are instead of like like we're conforming the prompts to ourselves. than instead of us conforming to the prompts. So that's one thing that stood out to me, and also the fact that I got a draft done really quickly. So I'm pretty much finished with mine, so I could just read the
Read
whole
the
thing.
beginning and the beginning and the end.
Yeah. So
because we don't have the luxury of time. So the beginning and the end.
With the stereotypes of Indian food having a strong odor, I always was conscious of how my house would smell to my friends, especially since I was used to it and thus couldn't tell the difference. It never occurred to me that my culture and background was different until elementary school, when my food was called weird and smelly. After that, I only took PB&J sandwiches for lunch. From a young age, I never liked inviting my friends over because, and I'll explain more. At birthday parties, I would see the way their noses would twitch when they would walk in, as they would look around trying to find the source of the smell. I just decided that the smell of my house will always be an issue to people. It only changed after my summer program, where I stayed at U Chicago for 1 month. Away from home for the first time, I walked into my house and my nose captured what others did too. Instead of smelling the spices they smelled, I also smelled the many unique aspects and cultures of my family. And then here I break it down into three things. I talk about the smell of chai, of the Fraser fir, like the Christmas tree, and of the Jodhpuri doher, like the smell of cotton. At this moment, I realized the beauty present in the smell of my house. From wanting these smells to stop haunting my house, I instead saw that beauty isn't just in the special events or rare trinkets, but instead is all around, waiting to be noticed and appreciated. To other people, it could be a cacophony of smells, but to me, each distinct smell holds a special place in my heart. Going off to college, I know what my parents will pack for me. With their chai masala, a tiny Christmas tree for my dorm, and many dohers, they're also giving me a multitude of memories which I could fall back on any time. Though these trinkets will be seemingly unimportant to my future roommate, to me, the beauty in the ever-present, simple things which often get overlooked is an absence which will be deeply felt and a presence which carries the special parts of me.
Oh my God. Beautiful.
Thank you.
How can something so small and so tiny become so big and so integrally important? Beautiful. You really highlighted this one. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you brought in those few changes of the transitions that we discussed. I think your essay is long. You're going to struggle with the word count here.
Yeah, to cut down on the descriptive.
One question, Amy and Shabri, she's written U Chicago. Is that fine? It's a Common App essay. I didn't think so either.
Oh, I told her it was fine.
You'll have to go back to your summer school.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful to other colleges, is what I have heard from a lot of the other colleges. When the admissions officers speak with us, they tell us they don't like that.
I don't like it. Oh, okay, because we've always done that with our we've always specified what particular.
I know your early decision is U Chicago, but to them it almost sounds, and I know U Chicago's quirks, they'll hate it.
Okay.
So don't do it. And others are just, I don't think it's worth it. That was my only fear. So let's just remove it, Amy, if you're fine with it.
Yeah, that's okay. If you guys are very certain, yeah, for sure.
I am struggling with it. Chabri, you take the final judgment because you meet every day.
I don't like name dropping. I think it's a big issue for me.
Hey, this is so fascinating because I'm like name drop.
Because you'll be putting
names.
I did it once.
Extracurriculars as well.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So there it's okay because that's factual.
Yeah.
But here, it's for me, it's a big no-no.
Yeah,
maybe that's a background where the same personal statement goes to every university and the Common App as well. You know?
It was the Harvard admissions officer and the Yale admissions officer when we met at the ISEAC, and this is one of the first things they said. What are you trying to do? And then I realized, let's just keep it away. So Anya, please change it, because 2 out of 3 people are feeling it. Just for the sake of convenience, let's just change it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Who's next? Sorry, I got lost. Sanvi, do you want to try?
Yeah, I can read out.
First you tell us what you feel, because you got literally just 1 day.
Yeah.
So has Ishan, but that's okay. We'll go with you first.
So obviously it was really, like, I think the ideas that you all gave, it was the most helpful thing because it gave me a direction. It gave me like a sense of, where to go, and I was confident with it. And I think, yeah, completing it in such a less time, I would have never imagined that I would have gotten where I am today if it wasn't for this boot camp. And also it's become very coherent. Like now I have this like vivid picture in my mind that I need to exactly what I need to do and make the appropriate changes to my essay. And I have to work on it quite a lot. And
That's fine.
yeah,
Read whatever little part you want to us. It can be
Yeah.
even the middle if you like something. That's fine.
So I'll just read the first and the last paragraph that
That's
I've.
fine, beta. That's fine.
Mirchi stands for chili. Hot sauce without chili is basically garlic water, or ramen without chilies is boiled spaghetti. Mirchi is that spicy garnish that one adds to salsa. Mirchi is a nickname that my parents thought would perfectly captivate the spice I add to their lives. And then I have to elaborate on this a little more. And the last para would be think everybody has spent at least 5 minutes of their life catching their breath after eating a fiery chili. I too have had my fair share of tears contributed by the everlasting passion of chilies. A few days after the guilt-ridden incident, my cousins and I were hanging out when somebody asked me who I love more, my mom or my dad. I said, my sister. There it was, a puddle of tears, a puddle of water in my sister's eyes. It was a moment when I made her feel so appreciated that it brought tears to her eyes. And it was a moment when I felt like a mirchi.
Okay. Mirchi is a very, very essential element. You have a lot of work on your essay, but I do think that it has the ability to really bring the mirchi. So I hope you manage working on it. Yeah, but that's what happens when you miss one whole day. You kind of miss one whole element of us, right? It's very tough to add it. But yeah. But well done, Sanvi. I think you picked up really quick. Who's there? Eshan, you want to talk a little about what the workshop's done for you and maybe read the first element of your essay to us?
Oh yeah, sure. So it was just really nice, like getting three different perspectives and ideas. Like before this, I had no idea what I'm gonna write about, but now I actually like have a good idea. And like doing it in 2 days now, whenever I'm gonna sit down to write an essay, I'll like try to finish it as fast as possible, like in 2 days probably. Yeah, so I think I'll just read. Like, should I just read like my essay is pretty long, so.
Just read the first. I like the introduction that you managed to capture because the rest has to come in space and then maybe a little of the end.
So it starts with a quote from a song, and you run to catch up to the sun, but it's sinking, racing around to come up behind you again. The sun is the same in a relative way, but you're older. The sun was bright in a light blue sky, creating an image of peace that was almost instantaneously destroyed by my loud voice. I was the captain of my soccer team, and this was our last practice before the finals. I was disappointed and angry with my teammates and even with myself, but found it easier to release my frustration on the boys. Why aren't you running behind the ball? The already low morale of the team went to a new low, and mid practice, my friend Ayan threw the ball at me and screamed right back at me. We were better off without you as a captain.
Perfect. You know what you have to do, Aishan. Again, you missed on one day, so again, you're missing a whole element of structuring and composition. But you know what you have to do now. And you don't have 2 days, you have one day.
Yeah.
Don't give yourself double the time than we've given you, please. Who's next? Who's not been a part of it? Varushka, you want to go next? Tell us what you felt about the workshop, and then you can move on to reading whichever part of your essay you want.
Yeah, I felt like it was really helpful to get so many perspectives on this one idea because even I myself was not sure how to go about it. And I feel like it's something really different, and hopefully, like I can execute it properly so it comes across properly to the admissions officer with all of your help. Yeah, and I guess I can read like the start, because otherwise, then still needs some work. Yeah. So the word lacuna is Latin in origin and means an unfilled space or gap. The lacuna effect is the impact that the unfilled spaces and gaps between our dreams and reality have on our lives. I belong to two different worlds. One where I am one one where I am and one where I was. 8 a.m. Math class. Reality. I'm entering my classroom. School has hardly started, and the first conversations I hear are the boys arguing about the previous day's math test. I so badly want to tell them it doesn't matter whether X is 25 or X is 26. Look at the colors in the sky, the colors the sky was playing out that monsoon morning. But as usual, no voice comes out of me. Look at the dark grey clouds playing hide and seek and the bright yellow sun. And suddenly, it's 8 a.m., math class, in my dream. I'm back on the ballet stage. The mix of adrenaline and nervousness surges through me. But this time, I start flawlessly on beat, my body moving effortlessly, executing each step with precision. The music envelops me, allowing me to disconnect from the world and find solace in its rhythm. I've learned to control my expression of pain during pirouettes, channeling it into my dance with poise and grace. My kicks reach new heights and my turns are sharp, and I dare to attempt the 180 turn, experiencing a state of flying even if it was only for a fraction of a second. Embracing both the pain and exhilarating gain. The stage is my sanctuary, where I transcend limits, expressing my strength and resilience. As I conclude my performance, the applause is both gratifying and humbling. The dance has become a pathway to transcendence. The pain transforms into beauty, and the joy of flying sets my heart and soul free.
I don't know, Amy or Shabri, which one of you managed to bring that transition of 8 a.m. reality math class, 8 a.m. reality math class in the dream, but that was something needed. Thank you. It
Yeah.
really did touch the exact nerve we were missing. So
Yeah,
thanks
because
a
our
lot
brain
for
is
that.
not
No, it
connecting.
wasn't. I know. Because we were both were struggling, and in my mind, I was just, what do I do with this? But you really hit that notch, and I'm so appreciative because it's just sounding brilliant. And Varushka, you really captured what I wanted you about ballet. It's done, dusted. So you now know what you need to do with aerial
Yeah,
yoga, so you
yeah.
work on that. Perfect. Who's not read that piece? Tia? Tia, I know you had to re-look at your story completely. So let's first
Yeah.
understand how has this workshop worked for you, and then maybe the newer version of what you're working on, a little bit of that.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed the 2-day workshop. To be very honest, when I heard that, like, when I was told that it's from 2 to 5, I was like, okay, that's too long, but it's actually too less of time. Like, it's now I've realized. Yeah, like I did not expect time to go by this fast. But anyway, like I want to thank all three of you for helping us out so much and really pushing us. Me personally, I know I wouldn't have gotten anything done if I didn't like come for this. Like I wouldn't have even had a Google document that says Common App Essay, to be very honest. So I'm glad that I've like gotten started, and I hope like my procrastination doesn't cut it off. It won't. So yeah, like Priyanka said, I did kind of have to like rethink and rewrite, which is what I was expecting, because yesterday I just kind of like put everything down on the document, and I knew that today I'll have to work on making it more me. Yesterday was just like a reflection and a rundown of the events that happened. So yeah, I mean that's my little feedback on the session. Should I read out a little bit of okay. So it's still a work in progress, but I'll read what I have. Have you ever considered your smile to be a given? It wasn't until recently that I realized that something as simple as a smile is actually a privilege. The Operation Smile, OS, is what I've like shortened it to, club was started in our school in 2019. By 2023, it had become a legacy project. Operation Smile works to provide free surgeries and care for underprivileged children with cleft lip and palate. I learned about the NGO when I was helping out our seniors with an event for OS in school. Abhishek, the regional director of Operation Smile India, visited the school and put up a presentation about the organization. The presentation included images of patients with cleft conditions. The first time I saw a picture of a child with a cleft lip, I looked away. I didn't want to see it. But when the slide changed to images of the child post surgery with their brand new, beautiful smile, something inside me also changed. That's when I understood the impact of a smile. When I returned home that day, I wanted to know more about Operation Smile. I did what every Gen Z kid does these days, stalk their Instagram. Again, there were so many images of patients with clefts, and I just couldn't bring myself to look at them. It's an awful sight, which is exactly why it's so important to help with surgeries. Kids with clefts have no place in this world. They are hidden from society and their lives come to a standstill. A child is born with a cleft every 3 minutes, and then I have to give a few more facts and statistics there. By the end of my research into Operation Smile, I realized that I wanted to work with the cause. So when signups for new project heads in my school came out, I filled it out. I went through an entire interview process with the previous student leaders and teacher supervisors and was selected to be the new club head. Little did I know that this project would be a lot more than just another responsibility I had taken on. And then
Then,
it yeah.
Shabri, are you happy the way it's done now?
Much
I just and you'll be so happy with the way she's going to move on further. You'll be delighted. One request here. You remember in the first paragraph, you're saying, I looked away. The second time when you saw it, say, I couldn't look away. Because that almost shows you're into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's important.
Yeah.
We never want to leave it with, I looked away.
Yeah.
Which all of us do. But I want to now show I couldn't look away.
Okay. I'll add that.
But loved it. Beautiful job, Tia. Oh, that was a daring one. But I love it. Thank you. So I think all of us have read it. Okay, kids. At this point of time, any questions, queries for any of us that you all want to ask? Else, I will have to say bye to you. It's going to be a very bittersweet bye. It's almost feeling terrible. I always do this. I'm always teary-eyed. I hate saying bye to children. But all the best. Each one of you are phenomenal. I have to say that. Send us the essay 7 p.m. sharp tomorrow and put it on the group. Okay? Any questions you have? Right. Amy, my question for you, blah, blah, blah. We will try and answer. We're all going to go back to our work tomorrow. We will try and send you voice messages or answers right there on the group. Till tomorrow, 7 p.m. No questions? Shabs, any last words for them? Advice?
Just what I started with, like your essay, the 1,000 days and hours and songs, etc. I'll come back to the same thing. Stay authentic. Think about the reader. Okay, I really ask you to do that and make sure that when you're reading your essay, you are reading it from their perspective, and everything will be fine.
Amy?
First of all, I want to say thank you so much, guys, for really just making this workshop such a great and enriching experience. I feel like I've learned so much more as I do with every interaction with a new student. And on top of that, my only advice for all of you is to really read your entire essay from the start to finish at some point, especially when you're getting stuck. You know what happens, I find, especially when you're looking at comments, is you'll only look at the part that's been commented on and you'll try to edit from there. But really, your essay is a whole. So in order to make everything look coherent and like a cohesive whole, you really should be constantly reading from start to finish and go, is whatever I'm adding to it, does it fit? Or am I just like changing these 2 lines because this is what Amy or Priyanka have highlighted, right? Or they've told me to change this, right? Still read everything from the start to the end. And as Shabs has said, please be authentic. And really, I hope that you guys end up enjoying whatever you've written. Enjoy the process. I know it's painful right now because everything's in a time crunch, but you should be really proud of yourselves for even coming this far. Yeah.
Last word of advice. I'll go to statistics. I have at least helped, I think, about 300 children or more with their essays now. At least 123 of them must have come back to say, the beginning of the Common App, the finishing of the Common App has become a part of my life. And so many of them, what they wrote in their applications essays have actually come true for them. Okay. Remember one thing that I started this workshop with you all. What word are you going to become? How is the reader going back to his or her house remembering you? What are those 3 words or one line or the memory that will they take away? What's the emotion that they're going to take back with them? One of a smile, one of a heart, one of a emotional, one of an awe. All of that you have to remember. It's all about that. Do not try to impress yourself upon a college. The college will take who fits the best. Okay, don't fall in love with the college. The college knows who they want. They will find the best. Please believe me on this. Okay. So with that, let's do a final goodbye. Thank you so much, children, for being a part of this. Nothing would have been possible without Ninad. I really, really want to thank you, Ninad. Please introduce us to children who are probably in grade 11, grade 12, who you think may want to sign up with us. And that will mean the most to us. Thank you.